Hi guys, it's Jason from Liberty Militia. So this is a British £50 note, or more accurately, it's a £50 note issued by the Bank of England. Now on the front of this note and on the front of all paper money issued by the Bank of England are the words, "I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of," and in this case it's £50. So years ago you could take your paper money and exchange it for gold, but what does that mean these days? So this is a Freedom of Information request that was sent to the Bank of England, and the requester asked, what is the value of sterling currency? Bank of England notes say promise to pay the bearer on demand. What is it that you would pay upon receipt of one of your banknotes? What gives sterling its value using the Labour theory of value? So this is the bank's response. Since the Bank of England's foundation in 1694, the bank has issued notes promising to pay the bearer a sum of money. For much of its history, the promise could be made good by the bank paying out gold in exchange for its notes. The link with gold helped to maintain the value of the notes, although the link was sometimes suspended, for example in wartime. Okay, good. So that's great. So you can swap your paper money for gold. That gives the citizens or the users of the money confidence, because there's a limit to how much money the government can print, or more accurately, how much money the Bank of England can print, because, it needs to be backed by gold. So if they start printing money and they don't have the gold to back it up, it's a big problem for the Bank of England. So it really ties down how much inflation they can create. It's not good that they, inflate during war times, but typically every country that goes to war inflates. War's an expensive business, so they pay for it through inflation or debasing the currency. The link with gold was finally broken in 1931, and since that time there's been no other asset into which holders have the right to convert Bank of England notes. They can only be exchanged for other Bank of England notes. Nowadays, public faith in the pound is maintained in a different way, through the bank's operation of monetary policy, the objective of which by statute is price stability. Although price stability is one of the main aims of the Bank of England, it's not the only aim. The Bank of England is a highly politicised institution. It also has the aims of keeping unemployment low and keeping the economy growing. Now, these aims often conflict when it comes to monetary policy. What's good for booming the economy isn't necessarily what's good for price stability. So there definitely is a conflict of interest at the Bank of England with regards to its operation of monetary policy and its promise to maintain price stability. The promise to pay does not have the same meaning it did 300 years ago. Nowadays, the promise to pay holds good in perpetuity for the exchange of old series Bank of England notes, which have been withdrawn from circulation, as well as mutilated Bank of England notes, providing that certain criteria are met. This is really a cop-out. They're trying to make a gold standard seem like some kind of outdated medieval thing by saying 300 years ago. We left the gold standard under 100 years ago. It was only 1931 that they admitted we left the gold standard, but they're trying to make it seem like something outdated from 300 years ago. And also they're only saying you can exchange your paper money, your paper fiat worthless money for other paper fiat worthless money. The promise to pay only means you can get an old £50 note for a new one. Or if you tear your £50 note, you can swap it for a new one, which really isn't the spirit of the meaning of promising to pay the bearer the sum of. Finally, in terms of the Labour theory of value, the cost to produce a banknote is minimal. However, its real value lies in the value of goods and services you can exchange for it. Now, I'm not a fan of the Labour theory of value. In my opinion, the only way to objectively measure the value of goods and services is using supply and demand. However, it's very interesting the Bank of England even answered this question, admitting it costs almost nothing to produce paper money. It's not backed up by anything. You can't swap it for gold. You can't swap it for silver. It only works off confidence. While there's someone out there prepared to swap their goods and services for your worthless paper, the cycle continues. But long-term fiat money always returns to its intrinsic value of zero. So you live in quite good times. You live in times where you can still swap worthless paper money for something physical. Anybody watching this video, I recommend you own some physical gold, some physical silver. You can own these commodities digitally, but in a currency collapse, you want to have the physical gold, the physical silver in your hand. You can still swap, your worthless £50 notes for gold sovereigns, Canadian maples, US silver dollars. Use this time wisely to acquire some physical precious metals in case of a currency collapse. We live in reckless times, interest rates near zero, they've been printing a lot of money, there's been a lot of quantitative easing. We'll see what happens as Europe's looking like it's tipping into recession again. There's very likely to be more quantitative easing, more reckless monetary policy. So use this time wisely, own some physical gold, own some physical silver. Bank of England essentially admitting the pound sterling is worthless. It's not redeemable against gold, it's not redeemable against silver. So it's Jason from Liberty Malicious signing off, and I'll see you in the next video.